Howdy. Welcome to part 4 of U.S. Army Basic Training 1966 Culture Shock. I'm Grandpa. I left off on part 3. Myself and a whole bunch of other young men were on a bus en route from the reception station to our basic training units. We had a drill sergeant on the bus with us who basically just kept telling us over and over that when we got to our basic training unit, we better not be lagging. When that bus got stopped, we better be getting our butts off the bus in, as he explained, an expeditious manner. Expeditious meant like time now, right away. Now, all of us young men, being kind of nervous and scared because we were all young kids, wanting to please the drill sergeant when we arrived at our basic training unit, we're sitting there. I'm sure I know what I was thinking. And when that bus got stopped, there wasn't nothing going to keep me from getting my butt off that bus in, quote, an expeditious manner. Well, when the bus got stopped and the driver opened the door, the drill sergeant stood up there by the driver and started hollering, "Get off the bus! Get off the bus! Move it, move it, move it!" And of course, everybody's wanting to get off the bus and make the drill sergeant happy. And what the end result was is a whole bunch of confusion and people bumping each other, falling down on the floor of the bus, knocking each other around. Guys are actually falling down the steps trying to get off the bus and falling down on the ground. And it's just, it was havoc is what it amounted to. Now, the drill sergeant wasn't laughing, nor were the two drill sergeants waiting outside our bus to get us into our little formation. But I'm sure they thought it was pretty funny seeing us all bumping each other and falling down, falling down, and trying to get our duffel bags and keep moving. Either way, once we got off the bus and got into our little group, it turned out that what they did is they separated all the men that were on the buses into platoons. I was assigned to 3rd Platoon, and the unit was Company C, 2nd Battalion, 5th Training Brigade at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Now, once they got us assembled into our platoons, the senior drill sergeant, there was a senior drill sergeant for each platoon. The senior drill sergeant in charge of our platoon basically took a few minutes to point out that he was our senior drill instructor and introduced his assistants. And there was 4 assistants to the senior drill. After he did that, there was no time for questions or answers. He pointed to a wooden 2-story billets that we were going to be housed in and explained to us that was our billets and to get our butts over there and go find a bunk now. Needless to say, it didn't take any of us any time to pick up our duffel bags and start running toward that billet. Now, we ran over there, and there was no assigned bunks. You just went in and grabbed the first one you could, and as luck would have it, I guess I was dragging butts some because I wound up on the 2nd floor, top bunk. And anyway, once we got into the billets, the drill sergeants came over and told us to put our duffel bags on our bunk and then to move sharply over to the supply room. And they showed us where the supply room was. We had to run over to the supply room and sign for our bedding, which consisted of 2 wool blankets, 2 sheets, a pillow, and a pillowcase. Once we got our bedding, we ran back to the billets and to our bunk and had to stand there waiting for the drill sergeants to give us further instructions. And that wasn't too bad. Everybody just kind of did what they were told to do, and they ran their little butts off to make sure it happened fast to keep the drill sergeants happy. Well, once everybody got their bedding, there was all 5 of the drill sergeants took the time to take 5 different bunks, upstairs and downstairs, total 5 bunks, and show us how to make our bunks. And there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And if you did it the wrong way, well, that was not a good thing because they would tear your bedding off and you'd have to start all over again. And what they did is they set these bunks up and made the bunks, or actually they didn't make them. They had the trainees of the bunks they selected to make the bunks, And then they gave us all an opportunity to make our bunks, and they would come back shortly to make sure they were done right. Well, needless to say, when they came back, they were they weren't done right. So they stripped all our beds again. And the next thing we know, we're up there trying to make those bunks again. And even the guys who were fortunate enough to have the drill sergeants help them to make their bunks got stripped too. So it took us a while to get them bunks made. And since we arrived there kind of late in the afternoon, by the time we got through making our bunks the way the drill sergeants wanted us to make them, it was chow time. So at chow time, the drill sergeants told us to get over to the mess hall, take our butts in there, eat, and get right back to the billets. Don't be dragging butt. So off we went to the mess hall. Now, when we got over there was other platoons in front of us, and there was a pretty long line of men waiting to go in to get their grub. And in this line, as you waited in line, right beside the mess hall was what they called a horizontal ladder. Basically, it was a device to build upper body strength, and what you had to do to succeed in getting chow was you had to go across that horizontal ladder. Now, to do that, you had to take your hands, stick them all the way up in the air, jump, grab the first rung. There was 12 rungs on that horizontal ladder, and then go from one rung to the other until you got it completely across that horizontal ladder. Now, should you screw up and fall between the first rung and the 12th rung, you had to go back to the very end of the mess line, get another place in line, and then get back up there and then until you could cross that horizontal ladder. Now, the problem with that is folks like myself, who was in pretty good shape because I was raised out in the country anyway and used to working, but the guys that were not in good shape, they just couldn't do it. They really messed their hands up, big old blisters. So what the drill sergeant selected to do with those guys was put them in what they call the front-leaning rest position. It's basically the position you get in to do push-ups, but you extend your arms all the way out and you hold yourself that way, end quote, the front-leaning rest position. And then the drill sergeant would have you do however many number of push-ups he desired till he wore you out, and in the process would call you all kinds of derogatory names and tell you what a sissy you were and how weak and flabby, just really rag you out. But either once you got through the horizontal ladder, then the next step is to get on into the mess hall and get your grub. However, after I completed the horizontal ladder, I kept seeing guys turning around and going back to the back of the line again, and couldn't figure out what was going on. Finally, one of the guys stopped and clued us in. Hey, you got to know your serial number. Well, who knew their serial number? Nobody. Now, it was on our dog tags, and back in those days, you didn't use your Social Security number. They assigned you a serial number. If you was regular Army, i.e. you raised your hand and joined, that was regular Army. Your first two letters was RA. RA. If you were a draftee, your first two letters were US. If you were a National Guard, your first two letters were NG. And if you were a reservist, it was AR. That way the drill sergeants, or anybody in the military, knew if you had joined, if you were drafted, if you was National Guard, or if you were a reservist. However, that was the first two parts of your serial number. And then they had a long string of numbers after that. So here we all stood in the mess line waiting for our turn, looking down, trying to remember that deadgum serial number from the time that you found out about it till the time you got up to the door. Needless to say, I did not have mine memorized by the time I got to the door and to go in for chow. So I had to go back through again. But by the time I finished going through the second time, I had memorized my serial number. And the process was, when you got to the drill sergeant, you had to repeat your name, rank, and serial number. Now, once you got into the mess hall, there's no talking. No talking whatsoever. You went in and you got your grub, you sat down, you ate, and you left. And back in those days, the Army was not so kind and gentle as to have a short order line, a long order line, and any variety. If the meal consisted of liver and onions, mashed potatoes, and carrots, you either ate that or you didn't eat. So, whatever they had, you better take it and eat it because you're going to get damn hungry if you if you didn't. The choice of drinks were water, milk, and chocolate milk. So that was how it worked in the mess hall. There was no variety. You took what they served or you didn't eat it all. And when you took it out, you had to eat it all. If you didn't, you was in a big old world of poop. If you got caught talking, you was in a big world of poop. But I'll have to tell you more about that in the next segment. Anyway, thanks for taking time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll pass it to your friends. And please tune in for part 5 next time. Thanks a lot.